Welcome back to the road to City Hall. We are turning our attention now to Election Day. We've been telling you a lot about the Democratic and Republican candidates for mayor, public advocate, and city controller, but tonight we'll be introducing you to some other names that you'll find on your ballot come November 7th. My next three guests are all nominees for the Green Party, and they are looking to push the major party candidates on a number of issues. Akeem Browder is a criminal justice reform advocate who is running for mayor. Veteran activist James Lane is the Green Party nominee for public advocate, and Julia Willebrand is a longtime educator and activist, and she is the party's candidate for city controller. Thanks so much for joining me this evening. So, Akeem, I want to start with you. Your last name is one that many New Yorkers are familiar with, of course, because of the terrible story regarding your brother, and who committed suicide after 3 years on Rikers Island, at the end of which the charges against him were dropped. Give us your brief subway pitch about why you're running for mayor and what your campaign is all about.
Well, thank you. My brother's story is known, and it's not just the story of one person, but a lot of people in New York City go through struggles in New York that we don't feel like we're heard. And so the transparency of the Green Party and what we're bringing to the platform with my campaign is really one that says we need transparency, accessibility, and really we need New Yorkers first. And so what we're trying to do and what we're coming to do with this as a plan is very bold. We want to make sure that our people are taken care of, and when it comes to New Yorkers, we believe that we have options, and the Green Party is providing that.
So criminal justice reform seems to be at the center of your campaign. Can you talk a little bit about your personal experience, your family's experience with Rikers Island, with the criminal justice system, and how that's informed your candidacy?
Well, actually, my campaign is, I know everyone looks at me as the Justice Mayor, and that's the kind of name that is going around, but realistically we have a problem with a lot of facets in New York City's systems. When it comes to our homeless system, that is something I'm very passionate about. The Department of Justice, of course, we need to reform and make sure that the system works for everyone equally and have opportunities for everyone to say, we won't, we're saying already we won't tolerate it. So the options that we are presenting, if people want to view it, we have akeembrowder.org. Or the gp.org, where you can see our platform at its fullest. The justice system, it will be redone, but the way that we're tackling everything is by looking at all the problems. New York City's homeless, that's an epidemic that really needs to be attended to. Our jobs, our small businesses, we really need to fix every facet of, and take the political out of this.
Julia, let's bring you in here. You have a deep environmental background. Tell us why you're running for mayor. This is the second time you've run for mayor.
No, controller.
Controller, excuse me. Sorry, controller. I apologize.
Not at all, but yes, I have run for mayor.
Yeah, that's right.
And controller previous to this. And I'm an activist, and I always have literally 60 years of activism. And I believe that we must make change. The homeless, I just saw in the Times this morning that there are 100,000 children in the public school system that are homeless. It's hard.
So what will you do about that?
What would I do about that? And when I'm the controller, first of all, I'll be the misinformation, telling people about this kind of thing. But secondly, first and foremost, the stock transfer tax. Every major city in the world that has a stock exchange has a transfer tax, and 30 countries have it, and we don't have it because it might affect the the financial world. I saw a number, $160 billion is what's predicted nationally could be raised if we had a stock transfer tax. And for most of us, it wouldn't affect us at all because we're talking about a penny per share. So that's a start. If you're going to deal with the homeless, you have to provide them with homes. And if you have to provide them with homes, you have to have money.
Thank you, James. We want to bring you in as well. Public advocate.
Yep.
Running for public advocate. Yeah. Give us your 30-second subway pitch.
Yeah. So the reason I'm running for public advocate, the issues that we're talking about right now, I mean, we've seen the city become a place where year over year it's become a great destination for tourists. But for the people that live and work here, it's a struggle. Every day it's a struggle. We're talking about homelessness. But people people look at homelessness as like, well, there's something wrong with these particular people. People that are homeless in this city are working 1, 2, 3 jobs, but they can't find affordable housing. So affordable housing is really the cause for homelessness in our city. You know, jobs, of course, but if you don't have a place to live,
what do you make of the mayor's plan? I mean, they would argue, his administration would argue that they have a very aggressive plan to build or preserve 200,000 units of affordable housing in the city. I mean, it takes time to build housing, right?
Yeah, well, first, yeah.
It does, and I'm going to speak real quick. It does, but that is not a permanent solution. Permanent solutions are not homeless shelters. Permanent solutions are where you get people jobs that's affordable to live in the city at a rate that is competitive with the rest of the economy.
Well, let's talk about one way that this administration says that they're trying to get jobs, and that's by trying to attract Amazon to open a headquarters here.
I'm sorry, that is so outrageous. The fact that Amazon can set up a thing where cities are competing with each other to get them to take a subsidy to build something. It is ludicrous, frankly. And when we go back to the homeless, one of the things this city has is 1,000 public schools, and every single public school has about a half a block of roof space. Trinity, the best, fanciest private school in the city, used its air rights to build housing for which he got money. The New York City could be building housing over every single one of those 1,000 schools for free, since it belongs to us.
I want to ask you just a big picture question about your candidacy, and that's that for many New Yorkers, they look at the Democrats who are currently holding the offices that you're seeking and say, this is a very progressive, left of center group of officials that we have in office. Yet you all are running even to the left of those public officials. What do you make of the people who would argue we already have left-leaning Democrats in office?
Well, the main thing I was going to say was, we just looked at the primary that we had, the Democratic primary. Only 14% of the people turned out for those Democrats. So obviously, people don't think they're that progressive, and they're not worth voting for. So that's why we have to have more parties, more voices, more choices in these elections. You know, if thanks to this forum right now, people are now hearing that there are other parties besides the Democrats and Republicans. It's two-party duopoly that we have. You know, and we have more chances to actually create and transform our city government into something that works for everybody.
Just 1 second.
Sure, yeah.
Actually, what we have been seeing is, just to add on to what happened with the debates, we have candidates that are posing to be leaders. We are supposed to be the leaders that the New York citizens can look up to and say that we're doing a job for them. As servants of the community, right now with the Green Party, we have majority vote. It's just that it's not posed that way because the mainstream media is doing their job, and the Democrats held all these offices for 45 years.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you all, some of you are out fundraising, trying to get money from New Yorkers to support your campaigns, but you haven't been successful.
We have to interrupt.
Yes.
We absolutely are not doing that. We have it as a policy, a national policy. We do not take corporate donations, period.
But
End
you're
of
taking
story.
some money. I mean, I know the two of you are at least
there's 14
raising
million.
some money.
There was over $14 million raised by the de Blasio campaign, and yet he's had 4 years in office and $0 raised to help any of this. But when 3 months came, in 3 months' time of his campaign, he raised that $14 million. Where's that help to the New Yorkers that's giving that money? We have already had 4 years of him in office, and we have the same complaints that we did 4 years ago.
Additionally, and Green Party campaigns, we run efficient campaigns. So we raise money. It's for literature. It's for mailing. A lot of our workers are volunteers. They're not paid people. They're working.
Yes.
You know, I have Tish James, my competitor, raised $900,000 through the Democratic and Working Family Party machine, but yet she went to the campaign finance board and asked for another additional $700,000.
Finally, before we go, have any of you met or interacted with your political rival in this race?
I have, and actually.
And how was that? What did
Actually,
you
I
make
let
of the
them know
mayor?
that we are not enemies of each other. We should be working together because we're all working for the betterment of New York City's residents. And so, Michael Tolkien, I've actually had a great conversation with him. He wants to work with us when we get in office. He realizes that there is need for teamwork in this.
What about with Mayor de Blasio?
Mayor de Blasio hasn't, I don't like giving name recognition to him. He's already the mayor. Everyone knows him. And if he wanted to help us get New York to a place that it's better for everyone, not just those that are the developers or the money, the big money in New York, then we would see him reaching out to us like we've reached out, Sal Albanese, all of us, Michael Token, even Aaron Comey.
Okay, we're going to have to hold it there. Best of luck in these final weeks not even only a handful of weeks before the November 7th. Good luck to you out there. It's time for a break. Straight ahead, 4 top journalists weigh in on Mayor de Blasio's conflicted views on Amazon during our Friday Reporters Roundtable. Stay with us.